Hi folks, Faye Reader's Woods again. It seems quite nice, the weather. I could have gone down to the other place. I can't be bothered. This one's nearer. It will do. Yes. Okay, so the one for today is... there's quite a few little subjects, I suppose. The first one really is that if you belong to God, if you've given your life to God, then it is very much the case that anything that is not of God is bad for you and bad for your life. It's going to be basically getting in the way, or trying to get in the way of your relationship with God. Certainly it's taking up time and distracting you and pulling you away from what you should be focusing on. That is true. The thing of it is, when it comes down to it, what is therefore of God? Well, most things are of God, really. All this, is this of God? Yes. All this is of God. Beautiful. It's all of God. All of it. Most things are. But most things you get a perversion of, which is the perversion isn't of God. Well, for example, lovemaking is of God. Sex is not. The body is of God. Pornography is not. Pornography is a perversion of sex and the human body and all that sort of stuff, and so therefore it's not of God. But the human body and lovemaking is of God, because without that we wouldn't be here, would we? Very important. That we have that. As I said before, look at Paul basically saying that if you are single or widowed, you should stay single, you shouldn't get married. Where if people took notice of Paul, society would have ended. On those statements, he was wrong. I get what he was saying, but the way it's been understood in the English language comes across as stupidity, really. Because, as I say, if people had taken notice of that, then mankind would have ended. Because people wouldn't have got married. If they hadn't got married, they wouldn't have had kids. And the world would have ended. Well, with regards to mankind being on it. And that would have ended, centuries ago. This world will now be completely overpopulated by animals. And, there'd be no humans on the earth at all. Well, maybe 1 or 200 are the people that thought, no, I like the idea of marriage. I'm going to do that. Which does make sense, doesn't it, really? Here we have the pure example. We have a family of people with little kids, little tinies. So, they've experienced that point. Whether they got married or not, it doesn't matter, but they've experienced the point of having little children. This could be a while. I should really try and get past them, I think. Because they're going to be slow. But based upon the fact that they've only got little tiny legs. They can't move that fast, can they? So, I should try and get past. Excuse me for walking a bit faster. So I can get past that, would be advantageous. I'll get back to the video in a second. How you doing, alright?
How you been?
Oh, not too bad. Nice day. It's like I was saying about music again. Well, perfect song. For those of you who are at church, perfect song. Kylie Minogue, Better the Devil You Know. Because it's got the word devil in it, it's got to be bad. It's got to be bad, isn't it? Listen to it. If you're from that time when that song came out, it brings joy. It's an upbeat song, quite dancey. So, in my folder for joy on my playlist, that song's in there. Is it demonic because it's got the word devil in it? No. If you understand what the song is talking about, as I've said recently about marriages, where people are married to the wrong people. That's the case of better the devil you know, isn't it? Really? Yeah. But that song, very joyful. And most songs, very joyful. But then you have people that pervert it, don't you? You have people that push the extremes and, go on to, Nicki Minaj being one of them. Making songs incredibly sexual. And then you've got people that make rap music that is incredibly violent and about killing or about drugs and promoting that sort of stuff. And that's demonic, because it's taking something that's healthy and perverting it. Same with regards to movies, same with regards to literature. You've got most literature is good. You can learn, you can grow. You can learn in some way through reading most stuff, can't you? It can be good for you. Even if you're reading a romance novel, it can be good for you. It can lift you a bit. If you're into that sort of stuff, it can help your mood, can't it? So therefore, is it of God? Yeah, why not? Why not? It is to you, that's the point. It is to you, it might not be for me, but it is to you. And that's cool. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I've been one of these people who's enjoyed the Avengers movies and stuff like that. Now, are they good quality, well written, incredibly well acted movies? Not really, but they're quite good, because you've got the good guys, you've got the bad guys. The good guys eventually win. Yeah. That's I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's quite good, especially when they eventually win at the end. And like in the last episode of the Avengers, where it looked as if they were going to get beaten, smashed big time, and then all these people come out from the wizard's circle things, and then all these people that are dead are now back. Okay, that's cool. You would imagine that in cinemas, and it would have been the case in cinemas, people being joyous at that. Why? I'm going down this one, not down that one. Yeah. People are joyous because they've got to love the characters over watching the movies. And then we're quite sad when the characters died, so, and quite sad at the point in this film that like Thanos was going to win again because they were massively outnumbered. And the, what do you call it, the bloke with the shield, he looked absolutely knackered by that point, didn't he? He looks as if he could maybe have one more little battle, but then he would be dead. He looked absolutely shattered by that point. And then all the people that are dead came back again. And did that make a difference? Yeah. Massively. Yeah. Captain America, that's it. Yeah, and Iron Man, they both were absolutely knackered. Iron Man had been smashed about a lot by that point. They didn't have much left. Another person with dog behind, so yeah. But as I say, that sort of thing, that was good. Because again, it's uplifting, isn't it, at the end? Because it looks as if you're going to get defeated, and suddenly hope comes in. You have hope. That's definitely of God. And yet you've got a lot of people that think the church would say you shouldn't be watching that sort of stuff. Why? There's no reason why you shouldn't be watching that sort of stuff at all. Of course, you have some movies that are made that are grotesque and that are made to be grotesque, to really push things at a massive level, basically to pervert things. They're not of God. Now again, it really is a case where there isn't an absolute to say this is absolutely of God, this isn't, because it's all based upon you as a person and what you think is okay and what you think is not. Yeah? Well, even me, I swear still. I still swear a lot. Especially when I'm driving. Yeah, especially when I'm driving. I get quite annoyed with drivers. And I'm continually apologising to God. Yeah. But at the moment, that's the situation. I'm not going to worry about it. That's fine. In the end, if God wants to deal with that, he will deal with it and it'll get dealt with. I'm not worried about it. But it is a case that we have to be mindful of the things that there are things that are not of God. And to be honest, yeah, I mean, the way that the judgment of the world is not of God. That's not God's judgment. It's not even Old Testament judgment, is it really? I thought you were missing a dog, and I saw.
No, my dog's always lacking behind.
Oh, hey.
He's always slow.
Good. Well, as I say, I mean, yeah, the word talks about all these things and not bearing false witness and stuff like that. That was part of the law. Not anymore. No. There's a lot that isn't part of the law. The way that things are going now, crazy. Well, we've got to a point where, even things up there, we've got this thing Roe versus Wade in America been cancelled. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's the case where the left pushed it way too far. I think that's probably why the right pushed back so hard. Because, so things like abortion were supposed to be rare. They weren't supposed to be to cover up your mistakes. They're supposed to be rare. In a case of emergencies, more than anything really. And yet it became something completely different, didn't it? So, yeah, you can understand the right pushing back. You can understand them pushing back as far as they could. But all of stuff like that, even most of those laws, they're nothing to do with God at all. Really, they're not to do with his will. Anything that's judging somebody is nothing to do with God now. It was Old Testament ways because there had to be rules, had to be laws, there had to be ways of things being done. But that still was never what God wanted. God wanted relationship. The problem is there was still something called sin that was getting in the way. And that's why the law was brought in to try and see, okay. Basically, no, I think that did God know that when he brought in the law that man would not actually really take notice of that and not stop doing what they were doing? God knew absolutely that it wouldn't work. But part of the reason to bring that in is to say, right, no, I've tried to do it your way. Just saying to the Jews, you wanted a king, I gave you a king. You're my people, you wanted a king, I gave you a king. You wanted the rules, I gave you the rules. That didn't work. You couldn't do it that way. I basically told you couldn't do it that way, but you wanted that. Okay. So therefore, the real plan was always for God himself to come down and pay for the sins of everyone. That was always the plan. And so, once that happened, everyone's sins are paid for. It's no longer about judgment. Not at all. No longer about judging people. In the world we're in, we're still stuck in it. We're still stuck in the rules and the laws. But that isn't of God. Not anymore. Because as soon as Yeshua did that, to Father, it was all about, I can have a relationship with my creation again. That's what it was about. I was watching a film yesterday called An Interview with God. Very good film. It is interesting. Very interesting film. Interesting concept. There was a few points raised in there that were quite clever actually and quite well raised. Especially the fact of when this interviewer was interviewing God, he would ask questions and this character of God kept on bringing every question back to this person, making it all about this man, this interviewer. Yeah, that's how God works. Okay, they got that. They understood that. That when you come to God about someone who's been nasty to you, what does God always do? He makes it about you. Oh, but what about you? Why did you get offended by that? Why were you hurt by that? What could you have done differently? God doesn't care in discussing what the other person's judgment should be with you. He's never going to do that. It's always about bringing it back to you. Why? Because it's about you. It's about your character. It's about who you are. God doesn't care to discuss with you about how other people are. Not from a judgmental point of view. From a love point of view, maybe. But from a judgmental point of view, no. Aye. But again, that's God's nature. Like I say, the things of man, the things of man with regards to cars, houses, holidays, the things that people care about, music, films, books, a lot of those things can be of God. But the actual ways of man, with regards to the way man wills things and the secret desires of man, most of that has got nothing to do with God. That's not God's will, God's ways in any way, shape or form. So the laws aren't. The way of judging people is not God's. The way of having a fair society has got nothing to do with God either. It's not God's way. Democracy is counted as a fair society. To who? To the rich and powerful. Yes. Not really to everyone else. Although everyone else can get covered for with regards to health insurance and stuff like that, or health coverage, not health insurance, because insurance is always about an insurance company, isn't it? Which again is nothing to do with God at all. It's not God's will. The people that pay an insurance company who then decide whether or not you're covered and how much they're willing to give towards your treatment, even though when you first sign up, they let you believe that pretty much anything you need to be covered. That's why you're paying this money, because anything you need to be covered. When it comes down to it, it never is. Same with car insurance, the same as a con. God doesn't want you to be conned. That's actually part of the reason why I won't put adverts on my videos, because some of these adverts are cons. There was one advert that was so stupid, so incredibly stupid. It was this advert for a stomach muscle stimulator, but then they go on to say that this stimulator burns fat. What are you talking about, you absolute idiot? How could you burn fat? Fat has to get up to a certain temperature to be dissolved. Certainly if you're talking about it being dissolved. Now, if you're getting the fat in the body up to a certain temperature, what damage are you doing to the rest of the body? So if you're not burning the fat, or you're damaging the whole of that area by your product. I don't want it. I don't want it on my videos. Thank you very much. And then you've got the other advert of the computer game, where you've got the little blue characters versus the little red characters that are continually firing at each other. And you've got the blue character who sneaks up behind one of the red characters, smacks him over the head with a club to kill him. That's complete murder. It's not attempted murder. That's first-degree murder that you've got in a video game. It's bad enough when you've got the armies against armies and you're shooting people, you're shooting zombies. That sort of stuff, because you're intending to kill. This is an innocent person not even looking at you. Not actually even holding a weapon. You go and whack them over the head. Is that of God? No. But that's something that's also advertised all over YouTube. So it's like, no, not interested. So the raid game, I love the raid game. I love the adverts in the raid game. I'd be quite happy to have that advert all over my book, because they're funny. And funny adverts are good. I don't mind them at all. No. But just understand that the things that are not of God are not going to be beneficial to your life. But there's so much that is of God that we might think is not. So start to understand that. Start being guided by God as to what is of Him, what isn't. Yeah. Like at the moment, you've got this thing on the left where they're basically saying, that a trans woman isn't a trans woman, but a trans woman is actually a woman. And so they're trying to reclassify what counts as an identity of a woman. No, that's not of God. Not in any way, shape or form. What is of God is that a woman is a person who can conceive and breastfeed the child. Conceive the child first and breastfeed the child. So they have to have a womb, they have to have the breasts, but also everything in them to produce the milk. Now, therefore, a man could never do that. Never. So a man can never be classed as a woman. Yeah, can a man be classed as a trans woman? Yes, because the word trans comes first. That word trans explains that the person has, basically transferred from male to female. In their understanding, they now want to be identified as a trans woman, no longer as a man. Okay, but the word trans has to come in front of that because there's no way, shape or form you can be identified as an actual woman because you're not an actual woman. Yeah, that's... So all of that on the left, not of God. All that, the identity and gender fluidity, all that sort of stuff, no, not of God. There's no such thing as gender fluid. It doesn't exist. You can't go between male and female as, from 1 minute to the next you're male, next minute you're female, then you're male, then you're female. It doesn't happen. What are you going to do? How are you going to do that? It just doesn't happen. More people. I'm going to go up this path for a second to finish this and then come back down. No, that's it. But this is where society is now, isn't it? Yeah. I thought it's weird years ago. We used to have programmes on late at night, very late at night, on Channel 4. And these programmes used to talk about, where a person was in love with a car. And we thought that was weird. God, the generations now, they really are showing us that, no, that wasn't weird. We've got whole new levels of weird now. Yeah. I was talking to someone, I think at Tesco's, who is doing psychology. And I said, my God, you've got a tricky job in the future. Yeah, because at the moment, they're basically treating psychological cases as, this is absolutely normal. This is completely normal behaviour. Yeah, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. There are people that need help. I don't think they necessarily need psychiatrical help, but we have a society right now which is leaning very much towards, if you imagine yourself as something, then we're going to say that's what you are. Whatever your little whims are, we're going to make all that happen, and we're going to say that all that is true, even though clearly it isn't. But we're going to say it is because we've got your back, okay? And it's just like in school. It started years ago in school, where they basically say on school sports day and stuff like that, everybody's a winner. Well, no, everyone isn't a winner. Everyone is not supposed to be a winner. That's why in sports you have a first, second and third, like in proper Olympics and stuff. You have the gold, silver and bronze. Anyone who finishes outside the top three doesn't even get a medal. So they certainly can't be a winner, can they? The first three can't be a winner, only one can. That's life. That's the way life works. Certainly the way that sport and things like that work, even the way that the music industry works. There's one artist who's at the top right now. Who's at the top of the tree with regards to the sales of their music and with regards to, it's not every artist is at the same level. But that's what they've been trying to push, haven't they, for a long time. No, you're all the same, you're all at the same level. Nobody's better than you. Oh, shut up. Who are you trying to help? Instead of trying to teach kids that they're all winners, find out what the strength of that child is. If that child isn't very good at sport, find out what that strength is and help them to go ahead in that and be the best in that area. What they're strong in. Help them to do that. And now we're here where we are. Yeah. It's the same stuff, really. It really is the same thing. Yeah. A lot of people have such sad lives. They want to continue identifying as something else because it gets them attention, or it makes them part of a little group, you know, where they feel special. Look, you're special anyway. All of you are special. It's just understand how special you really are rather than trying to manufacture something special that isn't really special. But there you go. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.